Dante's Boxing Nation. Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So we always hear the question by boxers and media, who is the next Floyd Mayweather, right? We often hear a lot of fighters compare themselves to Floyd Mayweather. But one thing we never hear is, who is the next Canelo Alvarez? Who is the next great Mexican fighter? So Canelo, he was asked this question, and it's actually a really good question, but I'm going to explain why it's a good question a little bit later on. Now, I'm going to play this clip for you guys, but first of all, I don't want you guys to get distracted from what this guy who's asking Canelo the question says at the very beginning when he talks about how great of a fighter Canelo Alvarez is.
So, for me, and I think everybody would probably agree with this, you're one of the greatest fighters of all time, and specifically a Mexican icon whose legacy is pretty much cemented. But what current up-and-coming Mexican fighter do you see that you would identify as like, this person is the next star for your people?
You know, it's a lot of young fighters there, but the most likely right now is Marco Verde. Okay. Marco Verde is going to be one of the best upcoming fighters from Mexico.
Now, the reason why this is a really good question, because a lot of people would assume the next great Mexican fighter would be a David Benavidez. But Canelo, he knows that he can't mention David Benavidez's name because it would just further confirm why he's avoiding David. And just to make this very clear, for any Mexican that's going to try to play semantics and say, well, technically he's American. And yes, you're right. He's a Mexican-American that shows his loyalty to Mexico. That's why you see him with a Mexican flag. And this is the reason why you see all Mexican fighters rocking the Mexican flag, because they are Mexican boxers. And this is also the reason why Canelo Alvarez said he wasn't going to fight David Benavidez a couple years ago, because he's Mexican.
Hold it up that he's Mexican. That
like when I guys, always I say this, you share that video and put whatever you want. When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico, and that's why. But I don't care. I fight anybody, and I fight all my entire life anybody. What do you think? I don't want to fight with one Mexico or Benavidez. But look, I hear his dad talking a lot of shit. But look, he's accomplished nothing.
So even though that's an excuse, clearly Canelo still sees David Benavidez as what he is, a Mexican boxer. And that's the way David Benavidez sees himself. You know, the real ironic thing about Canelo not wanting to fight Benavidez is the fact that his own fans, they used to always say when he was avoiding someone or whatever, they say, oh, he's just doing everything that Floyd Mayweather did. If Canelo Alvarez did any of the things that Floyd Mayweather did, Canelo would have about 5 or 6 losses on his record by now, and he would have been retired years ago, because Floyd Mayweather, he moved up 5 weight classes. And when he moved up to welterweight, everyone he faced was about 15 to 20 pounds bigger than him. And when Floyd fought Canelo Alvarez, that was his version of fighting a David Benavidez. Canelo, he was 15 to 20 pounds bigger than Floyd Mayweather. He was way younger than Floyd Mayweather, had more power than Floyd Mayweather. And I remember Mexicans used to always say that Floyd Mayweather, he has no power. He's feather-fisted. But Canelo Alvarez, we know, has a lot of power. So he has even less excuses not to fight another guy like David Benavidez, who has power. Canelo is in the same predicament that Floyd Mayweather was in, but Canelo does not have the heart to do what Floyd Mayweather was willing to do. That's the reason why he would rather fight a smaller, older Terrence Crawford than a younger, bigger David Benavidez. Canelo is only willing to race you if you give him a head start, at least when it comes to the elite opposition. In other words, it has to be a handicap match. Now, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez saying that the next great Mexican fighter is Marco Verde, now, Verde, he is accomplished as an amateur. He has some really big wins in the amateurs. He defeated Amari Jones. He defeated Nishant Dev. But it's way too premature to call him the next great Mexican fighter because he's only 1-0 as a pro. And we all know that there have been a lot of Mexican fighters that have been really good as amateurs, but didn't have the greatest transition into the pros. Fighters like Jose Benavidez comes to mind. Jose Benavidez was one of the best amateurs in the country, and he was really considered like a first-round draft pick into the pros. And in all fairness, he didn't have the worst pro career. He just wasn't as good as he was as an amateur. It's crazy, man, because it seems like it was only a couple weeks ago that we were talking about Marco Castro. His claim to fame was beating Keyshawn Davis multiple times in the amateurs. And it wasn't that long ago that a lot of Mexican fans, they were telling Keyshawn Davis, why don't you fight Mark Castro? Why don't you fight Mark Castro? Well, now no one is talking about Castro because his career as a pro has not panned out too well. Agui Sanchez was another Mexican fighter that was really good as an amateur. In fact, he even has a win over Floyd Mayweather. But as a pro, he was not successful. He got knocked out by a guy who had a record of 7-8. And then later on, he got knocked out by Naseem Hamed in one of Naseem Hamed's best knockout highlights. So once again, man, the pros and the amateurs are two complete different sports. This is the reason why some fighters as amateurs, they may not be as good as an amateur and better as a pro, and vice versa. We know not too many Americans win gold medals these days, but they dominate in the pro rankings. So when it comes to Verde, we still don't really know how good he is with only one professional fight. I think we will get more of an idea maybe after he gets about 10 pro fights and steps up in competition. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.